Good evening, this is Eswatini TV News at 8. I am Natilesi Tole alongside Nomaklabiso Ngambule. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, has toured the Gege-Skunusa Road, which was commissioned by the Ministry of Public Works and Transport. The Minister of Finance, Nuberkenberg, says government constantly monitors the growth of the American dollar as it has a bearing on the country's borrowing costs. The Minister for Public Works and Transport says government needs 4 billion emalangeni to tar some of the country's roads. The news. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, has toured the Gege-Skunusa Road, which was commissioned by the Ministry of Public Works and Transport to check the progress of ongoing work on site. The road is projected to be completed by July next year, and we have a report.
On Monday, the Right Honourable Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini took to the Shiselweni region where he toured ongoing work of Main Road 13 from Gege to Skunusa border post. The project cost is 647 million emalangeni. The Honourable Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini commended the progress on site so far.
I-progress iyabonakala kusho ukuthi kuyaqhubeka impela kusebenza siyakujabulela lokho. Nathi ke sibhizi silungisa imali ukuthi nasaqedile contract kubede ukuthi bese sibheka le kuvele kuyabhadalana ukuthi sicede umsebenzi ngesikhathi ngoba kude lo tawuhlala ethi komsebenzi atitshele ukuthi imali itawenyoka siphunze futhi sicede within budget. Uma singakhona kwenda lokho ngoba sikubonile kuma projects lamanengi umsebenzi uphele way above lo bekuvunyelwene ngako khambe ngema-claim aloko awusibese sikhanzalishe lana besingalathi silikhona awusibese sikhanzalana kunesiyalo lebesingakasiboni la nje sesivumelene ukuthi lokho lokwendekako ukubonile.
Public Works and Transport Minister Chief Ndlaluhlaza Ndwandwe says government has been instrumental with suggesting smart ideas during Parliament discussions on making the country's road state to be at its optimal level.
Sithokozisa kakhulu silidinga thina lesihlala sikhalelwa ngemigwaqo lengakasimeli kahle evele. Kepha nje lokuthi nangu lona sesiyawenda kuyasitshengisa ukuthi likusasa likhona mhlonishwa Nkulunkulu. Phinde sibonge nako uhulumende neParliament mhlonishwa lokhu bese kuvuka emasu ukuthi lama projects ngawasebenta kanjani ngoba kusisonke isikhathi lapho khona uhulumende eta anele mali lephelele yale project.
Gege Inkundla Member of Parliament Musa Kunene says the development of roads is key in stimulating the country's economy.
Siyabona ke live liyakuhlanganisa kuyathuthuka lokho ukuthi vele uhulumende uyathuthuka. Ngiyabonga nje Ndvulankulu nalokuhamba nithi indvula nivele siyanibona vela mmangweni ngiko lokutakwenda ukuthi le live lithole ukuthula babone ukuthi uhulumende uyadeliver.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport Roads Department's mission statement is to provide, maintain, and improve a safe and reliable and environmental sustainable road network that will stimulate socio-economic development, job creation, and reduced road user costs. Sifiso Ngumalo with Vusimpa Mali for Eswatini TV News, Gege.
The country's stabilization fund now has 100 million emalangeni, which shows a major decline seen in years since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. This has been revealed by the Minister of Finance, Nuberkenberg, who said this has also been caused by the world political climate. The minister said this when explaining what government is doing to cushion consumers from the ever-increasing commodity prices.
The stabilization fund is used by government to cushion consumers from paying high prices for commodities. The Minister of Finance, Neil Riekenberg, says with the continued political tensions between Russia and Ukraine, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic, government has had to dig deeper into the fund as fuel, food and farm inputs continue to soar.
What we have built into the fuel price during the good times is an extra 50 cents which we charge in the fuel price, which goes into a fuel stabilization fund, which is run by the Ministry of Natural Resources, so that in times like this, if there is a fuel spike or if there is variation in the price, this stabilization fund is there to be able to help cushion the fuel price. And so fortunately, when the fuel crisis hit, there was over R500 million emalangeni in the Fuel Stabilization Fund. During the last few months, there's been times when up to 5 emalangeni a litre has been coming from that Fuel Stabilization Fund to be able to cushion the price of fuel to the industry. Now, unfortunately, we have had to still pass certain costs through because that fund has only got so much in. The fund is already starting to reach the end of its life. At the moment, there's around 100 million still left in the fund, but at the same time, it has been used quite aggressively and quite quickly. But even as we speak, there is still a cushioning effect from the stabilization fund on the fuel price. So that has really helped to keep the fuel price, even though it has risen, it has kept it so it hasn't risen to even higher figures than what we currently have. When it comes to the fertilizer and the staple food price, the Minister of Agriculture last week did make an announcement where we have approached ADB Bank for a specific loan to be able to boost the import food subsidy scheme. So what we have there is Eswatini that plant maize in Eswatini normally get a 50% refund or subsidy when it comes to the input costs of planting maize. That has been increased to 65% from 50% from government, which means now the farmers only put in 35% of that fund. And that fund is, we normally have about 40 million emalangeni in the budget. We are adding on top of that about 120 million emalangeni to that.
The minister says government is working hard to ensure this fund does not become depleted. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
The Minister of Finance, Rickenback, says government constantly monitors the growth of the American dollar as it has a bearing on the country's borrowing cost. The minister was responding to the International Monetary Fund's report that because of the stronger dollar and weak economic growth, some countries are at risk of debt crisis.
The Minister of Finance, Rickenback, says Eswatini is still on the right track with payment of its external debts.
And we are not in the classification of being in debt distress, but at the same time we do need to be careful, as the more debt we take on, with the more trouble we could get ourselves into. But at the same time, we have been very blessed where one has, in 2020, during COVID, when many countries took very big recessions, Eswatini only had a smallish recession, 1.9%, by far the lowest in the region. And then the following year, 2021, it looks like our GDP growth is higher than 6%. And so hence many countries, if you add the 2 years together, 2020 and 2021, a lot of them were still actually in recession if you add the 2 years together. Whereas as Eswatini, you add the 2 years together, we clearly had a very positive growth actually as an economy. And so for that reason, keeping in mind that debt, when you measure your debt, it's a debt to GDP ratio. If GDP goes up 6%, it means our ratio goes down. It means our percentage of debt goes down to GDP. So hence, by the positive numbers that we are seeing, we should also be able to aim closer towards the 40% rather than the 45% debt to GDP. Our reserves are very similar to the amount of external debt that we have as a country. So we have it ranges all the time. You can see the central bank stats, around 10 billion emalangeni we have in reserves. It goes sometimes down to 8, but it floats around there somewhere. And at the moment, our foreign debt is around 10 billion emalangeni. I think it's at the moment, let's say 11, depending on the exchange rate. That also obviously goes up and down when it comes to emalangeni terms.
The minister says government is managing the external debts better than most countries. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
The Minister for Public Works and Transport, Chief Ndlalhlaza Ndwandwe, says the government needs 4 billion emalangeni to tear some of the country's roads. The minister was speaking when presenting a report on roads upgrading in the House of Assembly.
The Minister for Public Works and Transport, Chief Ndlalhlaza Ndwandwe, presented a report in the House of Assembly on the roads upgrading plan in Eswatini. The minister stated that government needs a 4 billion emalangeni to tar roads and also 5 billion emalangeni to upgrade specific roads.
Kulungisa lamagwaqo elitiyela lesivele sinayo sithinga ibudget le around 4 billion. Bese kulele migwaqo lephonjiwe ukuthi le sevele sekuyaphuthuma kufuna ibe litiyela yona ila kubo 5 billion Mr Speaker. Ngalawo Mr Speaker ngithatha iadvantage ukuthi ema responses abhalwa etablishwe eParliament emalunga awatfola sesingacela nje ukuthi asemukelele le timphendvulo lesesitibekile.
Members of Parliament in the House of Assembly debated the report. Some raised concerns about roads that still do not appear in the list of roads that government has promised to upgrade. Some MPs stated that the Minister for Works needs to tour some of the country roads so he can witness the situation.
Ifuna le moto ihambe minister akutshele lo mgwaqo like info lehlala na uphetse imigwaqo kuphela nawo noma ngahamba jikathi aphinza jikathi lincane lelivela kangwane
babe bathi abantu bayahlangana bafake emantshe emgwaqweni akuhambeki ukona mhlonishwa lokhulume ngema-feeder road ngiyaliva leli gama lema-feeder road kodwa ngiphinze ngingaliva kahle kuze ngilive ndawucela induna amane ingiphendule kuthi nakukhulunywa nge-feeder road kukhulunywa ngemgwaqo lohamba ini
lo munye umgwaqo wendiwa ngala ngelitiyela lo munye wendiwa ngala ngeprobase while other constituencies are not getting the same help debayidingako nabo ngabe iyakuhlola indloko yendvuna kube ukuthi at least i-strike i-balance kwekuthi nalapho kungakafike kukhona kumane kufike kunye kwabo kungabi nenkundla la kungena khona umgwaqo lomkhulu on the other hand kungena iprobase
kude lo ngabona imcondzisi nele bese bakhona ukuhlekisa ngako bahambe bashutha letigotsi sebayeswela sebashutha ngakuphi imcondzisi kulama pothole labe wakhona licebile litiko umcondzisi.
At the time of compiling this report, the minister had not responded to some of the questions and submissions. For Eswatini, TV News on Domlangeni, Muzu Mkonda, Parliament.
The Eswatini Water and Development Enterprise, Eswat, through the smallholder market-led project, has donated equipment including 19 computers and 15 motorbikes to the Ministry of Agriculture, valued at over 1.6 million emalangeni. Accepting the donation at his offices in Babane, the Minister Jabulani Mabuza says the equipment will be used in the different centers to ensure officers offer farming services with ease.
Farmers in different rural development areas will now receive farming services easier and faster. This is because Eswatini Water and Development Enterprise Eswat, under the smallholder market-led project, has donated equipment to the ministry. The Minister Jabulani Mabuza says the donation will boost the agriculture sector.
Today we are receiving assets provided from Eswat through the smallholder market project, which is funded by the International Fund for Agriculture Development, IFAD, the Global Environment Facility, GEF, and also co-funded by government of Eswatini. We are happy that the Eswat, through the SMLP, is continuing to honor their obligations as set out in Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Agriculture and Eswat, SMLP, which speaks to provision of material and equipment to support functionality of the Ministry of Agriculture offices and farmer extension services in the project area. Under the Manzini region, Ngwembisi and Luve will benefit, and under the Lubombo region, Spofaneni and Stobela will benefit, and under the Shiselweni region, Mahlalini, Hluti, Southern RDA, and Sandleni, Lukolweni will also benefit. These same RDAs will also receive motorcyclists, and the following substations under veterinary services will also receive support in the form of motorcyclists, Lubuli, Spofaneni, Stobela, Maktai, Hlatsi, Mbulungwane, and Ngulwini. Along with these materials, the project has also undertaken office refurbishment of the Sipofaneni RDA, and the total value for all which has been mentioned here today is 1,633,000 and 90 emalangeni and 76 cent.
Eswatini says it continues to work with government to improve the agricultural sector. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
In a press release by the Ministry of Home Affairs, following negotiations between Ministers of Home Affairs in the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of South Africa, an agreement was reached to reopen the 6 remaining land ports of entry and exit between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of South Africa as of the 1st of August 2022. The border posts had been closed since the 1st of January 2021 to control the spread of COVID-19. These ports of entry will operate as follows: Skunusa 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Gege 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Bulembu 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Sandlane 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Nsalije 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Lunzi 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The ministry appeals to cross-border travelers to produce all the requisite travel documents when they present themselves to officials at the border. Visitors and returning residents will be required to be fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated persons entering the country do not require a negative PCR test result. However, a negative PCR test result is required for individuals not fully vaccinated. The Minister for Tinkhundla and Development, David Ngampalala, says the decentralization bill will assist to designate roles and responsibilities for different ministries in bringing about services to the people. Minister Ngampalala was speaking in his offices during a media briefing.
The decentralization function within the Ministry of Tinkhundla Administration and Development is part of the mandate of the ministry. The Minister for Tinkhundla, David Ngampalala, says decentralization facilitates local governance, local development, and the decentralization of government services from the national government to sub-national levels. Ngampalala says the decentralization bill will help in stating clearly the roles and responsibilities of each ministry in as far as providing services is concerned.
Bantu badinga ema-service lokungiyo lokufanele ayele kulabantu asondele kubantu letinkundla lokwakhiwa kwayo ingwenyama seyedile nanyana yetamathi labantu befike kube lula la befika khona nale bhiliphi kwakuthi uma bekutasihambela kahle sekunemithetho kunento kutawudinga imali angibekise sina only 40 inkundla la vele le 10 la the real ama-services bolobamba nabo bani mase kunalo mthetho sekulula ukuthi ama-service noma ngekho kalobamba efika njani-ke esikwe ukuthi babe seduze abantu bakhona bangesuki ngiyabekisa esikwa enhlangano ofuna nje liphepha sekunalo mthetho usebenta lula mase kunalo mthetho wokubuka letinto tisondele eduze kubantu ngathi nje mina ngiloko kafishane ukuthi le bill itawusita ukuthi kube lula lemisebenzi yahulumende kusondela kubantu sekuna kungabe icabanga kwami nje ukuthi lo ngicabanga vele ngingakumikisa niloko uyabo mangingakhano ngingahlala ngakumikisa but mase nginemithetho uyakompare umthetho ukuthi lokhu vele angikumikisa ngoba nemithetho uyavuma ukuthi akuye le la kufanele kubantu khona kafishane ngilapho.
Minister Ngampalala says the overall goal is to attain sustainable local governance and development, high level of efficiency, high quality of life, as well as equity and effectiveness in the delivery of services. For Eswatini TV News Ndomlangeni, Vumingosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
In a press release by the government spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo, the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini wishes to congratulate Maswati, who voted in the by-elections held at Sipofaneni on 30 July 2022 to fill the vacancy of the former Sipofaneni Member of Parliament. This expressive indication of true active citizenship and patriotism by the thousands of Maswati is commendable. We applaud Maswati for the peace, tolerance and dignity they demonstrated as they cast their vote at various polling stations in the Sipofaneni Nkundla. The electorate turned out in their numbers, and this is remarkable. These elections are a testament that the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini, through the Tinkhundla system of governance, upholds democracy and strongly believes in free and democratic elections. The pulsating vibrancy and enthusiasm from the thousands of voters who participated in the by-elections also attested to this phenomenon. We further congratulate first-time voters. This is a sign of their commitment to having a democratic Eswatini. Special appreciation is extended to the Elections and Boundaries Commission, EBC, for administrating free, fair, credible and transparent elections in a quest to enhance a democratic Dinkundla governance system. We appreciate the EBC officials who carried this endeavor with the meticulousness and patience it deserves. The outcomes of the elections are an assertion that transparency and accountability is critical to a democratic state and serve as the centerpiece for democracy. The Dinkundla system of governance, as mandated by Section 70 of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Eswatini, continues to aspire to remain democratic and participatory for the stimulation of community development. The government extends profound appreciation to the Royal Eswatini Police Service for protecting and serving all those participating in the electoral process. The security measures undertaken ensured incident-free and peaceful elections. Furthermore, the role played by other pertinent stakeholders in ensuring the safety and smooth operation of the elections is notable and highly appreciated. We further acknowledge the comprehensive reporting of the elections by the different local media houses, keeping Emaswati well informed about the elections and acting as watchdogs for transparent and free elections, strengthening the value of democracy. We also pass sincere gratitude to both our local and international observers for monitoring the electoral process. The government of the Kingdom of Eswatini congratulates the Member of Parliament elected and the other candidates. This is in fulfillment of Section 79 of the 2005 Constitution, which emphasizes individual merit as the basis for election to public office. Government remains committed to the spirit of democracy and encourages Emaswati to work together with their parliament representatives in rebuilding the country. And now we'll have a look at our financial markets.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Moving on, we'll have a look at our sports news. Chief Executive Officer of FNB Eswatini, Dennis Mbingo, says the bank is committed to work hand in hand with other stakeholders in trying to develop successfully the golf sport in the country. Mbingo was speaking during the last prize presentation of the FNB Eswatini Ngonyeni Challenge at Ngonyeni.
The first edition of FNB Eswatini Ngonyeni Challenge that attracted different golfers all over the world proved that even local golfers have the talent to take the sport to its new heights. Dennis Mbingo, who is the Chief Executive Officer of FNB Eswatini, says as a bank they are looking to work in hand with different stakeholders to improve the sport in the country.
Lese sikhuluma nalabadlali beMaswati lebesinabo kuleli viki ukuthi asesihlangane nje thina esiMaswati sibuke ukuthi singabambisana njani ukuthi sithole le talent seseyincane sikhulise sihlumise hayi thina siFNB sithi inkampani nje letifuna ukusita sikhulise eMaswati ngemasports.
Jacob Prinsloo, who is the eventual winner of the challenge, says competing in the Kingdom of Eswatini has always brought him a challenge that improves his game.
Coming to Eswatini, I always have. It's been 7 years, I think. We missed a couple in the middle, but I've always enjoyed coming here. I've played well in Eswatini, but I'm happy to be the champion here at Nkonyeni. Amazing golf course, and again, I always love coming back to Swaziland, and I hope to come back next year again as well.
The FNB Eswatini has assured the sport supporters that they are looking to bring another edition next year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Hobisum Sonera with Mbonga Dube, Ngonyeni.
Chairman of Premier League of Eswatini, Mark Carmichael, says the league is expected to kick off this month. Carmichael says final preparations are being made to ensure that the launch of the new season is held in the upcoming days.
Premier League of Eswatini has announced that preparations of the new season are already underway with official launch expected soon. According to the Premier League of Eswatini Chairman Mark Carmichael, they want to make sure that the league kicks off this month.
It's going to be very soon, probably in the next week or so we will announce, because we're working on our sponsorship with MTN, and certainly we are 99.9% concluded. So we will be launching the new MTN sponsorship, and certainly the dates will be announced. But history showing, August, certainly the league should commence.
Majority of the local supporters who attended the recent Bible Society Cup in their numbers have expressed their need in seeing the league starting sooner, as they cannot wait to watch their teams in the field of play. With the new season ahead, local supporters will now return to stadiums in their numbers after COVID-19 regulations were eased. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Patricia Msibi, Mansini.
Swimmer Hailey Hoy and boxing star Zweli Dlamini are out of the 2022 Commonwealth Games that are still ongoing in England, Birmingham. This follows a rather unsuccessful performance from the two during their competitions in respective sporting codes.
Swimming teenager Hailey Hoy and boxing star Zweli Dlamini have already been out of the 2022 Commonwealth Games after a disappointing performance in Birmingham. The duo finished all their competitions in different sporting codes this past weekend. Next in action, the country will put their hopes on another boxer, Thabiso Dlamini, who is attending his second Commonwealth Games, together with swimming athlete Smanga Dlamini. With athletics competitions set to begin on Tuesday, there will be once again a chance to watch the likes of Subsiso Matsentra, Bongi Mahlalela and others also giving their best. Last in competition will be the cycling team of Muzi Shabango and Gwanere Jeli that compete when the cycling gets underway from the 7th of this month, with the games finishing on the 8th of this month in Birmingham, England. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Bawane.
And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is weather update. From myself and the team, thank you for your company. Good night.